catch me howling at the moon. Tryna catch me howling at the moon.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode 2 of the Alpha Podcast. Today I'm joined by someone who has been playing competitive COD for almost 6 years. Very popular figure. Sometimes you get a bit of a bum rap, I think. I'm joined by Rory Cruze Hun. How are you, mate?
I'm going great, Jamie. How are you going?
I'm going very well, mate. I'm glad you're here. So tell everyone a little bit about yourself. Anyone that might not know who you are.
Well, my name is Rory, and I go by the alias of Cruze, and I am 20 years old. I am a Call of Duty player from New Zealand, competing in the Asia Pacific region. I've been playing COD for about 6 years, and yeah, I've been overseas a few times. So yeah, it's going well so far.
Happy days, man. Well, first thing I'm going to ask you, what do you think of the new Call of Duty?
I think it's pretty good. I have fun playing competitive on it. I hate pubs on it, but I enjoy playing competitive, and I think with a few little tweaks, it will be really good.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're in for a good year.
So, big question now is, what do you think of domination as a third mode?
I'm not the biggest fan of it. I just think right now with the way the spawns work, it's pretty terrible.
Mhm.
I think when they change that a bit, it'll be much better.
Well, I hope so. I mean, they've already changed a few things in the game already.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys basically played on a game that was almost a one-gun meta in an M4, and now they're kind of starting to nerf it, bring it back down to earth a little bit, which it needed to be done, but obviously that was kind of what the beta was for, in my opinion. But
yeah,
that's for another day anyway. So we've got the formalities out of the way. The first topic that we've got, so obviously not usually, this is my second podcast. So last podcast we had 3 topics and we'll just try and rattle them off one by one. First topic for today is the results and thoughts of the CDL Challenges Week 1 in the APAC region. I know you're not too happy to talk about it, but it was kind of a topic that I thought of like last week. So
yeah, that's all right.
I do apologise for that one, mate. So first off, we'll start off with your thoughts. Do you think there are any surprise results at all?
Well, I think the most surprising is that Rush got second, right? Like, I don't think anyone really would have expected that. Like, if you looked at the bracket the way it should have gone, like, in most people's opinions would have been, we played Rush for top 4, we would have beat Rush. They would have placed top 8, we would have gone top 4, we would have played Vertex, or not Vertex, sorry, we would have placed
the old Vertex roster,
the old Vertex team, like Nimble, Zipper, Damage, Beastin, and Restalling, or top 2. So I thought that would have been a good game. And then obviously you probably would have expected maybe I guess Liberland getting top 4 wasn't too surprising based off their seed, but either them or like Immense and Buzzo's team to probably be in the top 4 as well. But I guess everything went pretty south. Starting with us losing to Rush, us losing to Jay-Z's team, which was interesting. So instead of us playing Rush, we lost to them. And they played Rush. Rush had a higher seed than them. So they beat Jay-Z's team. I think they actually won maps on Jay-Z's team's host anyway.
I was going to say, do you know what the score was against?
It was 3-1. They won. Rush won a hard point on Australian host. So that was pretty impressive.
Which is pretty impressive.
Then this is like the only real games I was keeping up with after we got knocked out because we were all pretty like cut up about it. So
pretty upset.
I watched the Rush versus like the old Vertex team games. And I was just watching. I watched the first map, I think, and then I kind of clicked off it. I was just chilling. I looked on Twitter and I saw a tweet that said it was 2-2.
Yeah.
I tuned into one of the Rush guys' stream and they were up 3-0 in map 5. I was like, what the?
Yeah, and that was on Hayden's host, wasn't it? Or Max's host?
Yeah, it was on Australian host. It was on Ramaza Search and Destroy. And they ended up making it all the way to round 11. And then this guy on Rush, I think it was Verbra?
Yep.
Name? Was in like a 1v2 situation. Round 11, game 5 to make top 2, which would be the first time a Japanese team's ever been top 2 in APAC.
Yep.
And this guy ended up clutching the 1v2. I'm not really sure what the guys were thinking on Vertex or the way they played that, or the old Vertex team. They played that quite interestingly, but they ended up losing that. So Rush were top 2 and played against MF in the final.
Was that a 3-0 sweep?
Yeah. No, it was 3-1. Rush won the domination.
So they won. They won on their host. They won a respawn.
Yeah, they actually almost won the hard point on Mindfreak's host.
That's crazy.
I think they lost by 60 points, but one of the guys on Rush timed out, with like
Oh, you're kidding.
a minute to go in the map.
Yeah, I remember last season, Rush took MF to a game 5, and it was on, was it Payload Search and Destroy? Rush had full streaks. Round 11, and they choked. So
yeah, they did. But
no, there was, I think, like back on what you were saying, how Rush first time a Japanese team's made top 2. I think that there was a 2K last season though where they didn't announce anything. They changed the dates from a Saturday to a Sunday, and I think there was only like 2 Australian teams. There was like 11 teams in that entire 2K.
No, it was the weekend. It was the weekend after an event. I'm pretty sure it was the weekend after Dallas, and no one played the 2K.
And
like,
most of you guys would have been in Brisbane.
No, because Brisbane was before. Oh no, yeah.
Is that what it was?
That was the reason, because everyone was in Brisbane and I was at home, but I didn't even play it because I didn't even feel like playing it at that point.
Fair enough. So what do you think of your own result? Do you think that reflects on where you guys are at the moment, or?
Definitely not. Like, that was a pretty like shocking wake up call for us. Like, we kind of went into the 2K expecting, like, I guess we kind of went in maybe a bit not complacent, but I think we thought we were a bit better than we were.
Mm-hmm.
We're a bit kind of just walked in and then expected to win. Played map 1 and that was pretty poor, but some of the like attitude from our teammates was a bit poor after losing a first map. So I think we kind of got a bit down on ourselves. And I'd say the only map that we actually gave 100% for was this domination, and we kind of got unlucky with the spawns on that, which is why we lost by about like 5 points or something. So.
All right, fair enough. So it definitely doesn't reflect where you think you guys are at the moment.
No. Well, obviously we think we're like a top 3, top 4 team, so kind of disappointing to not get to show that in the first 2K, but we're not too cut up about it, and I think we understand that it's better to get that out of the way earlier than later. And
exactly.
In the future.
Well, I mean, it's going to be hard now. I mean, you've got Liberlin and Rush, who now basically they own 3 map hosts for the rest of the tournament until they get overtaken. I mean, it could still happen pretty early on.
Yeah. I mean, we played Rush last year. Like I was for, like, obviously it's a different game, but we played them last year on their host and we won. Hardpoint Hacienda on my, it was my Vegas team. Or it was either Vegas or Dallas. We beat them once on their host.
And you guys were the lower seed.
Yeah. Oh, no. We were the higher seed, but we won the map on their host anyway.
Okay.
They hosted the hard point and we won it anyway. So
fair enough.
So I guess someone's going to have to pull something out of the bag to win.
Yes, well, I mean, anything can happen. The biggest thing that I've got that I'm trying to take out of it is, will Mind Freak still hold that? Well, sorry, the ex-Mind Freak roster, will they still hold the first seed when Cruze comes in on that roster? Because you think they'll win enough to kind of continue being that number 1 seed? Because Cruze is basically coming in with 0 points. Yeah,
but the thing is, if they keep winning the 2Ks, they're all getting 2,000 points. So they're getting 8,000 points, and the team that comes second, even with 5 of them getting the points, they still only get 6K.
Okay, so it's essentially... So as long as they win every event, they should be all good.
As long as they keep winning the 2Ks, they're fine.
Yeah, fair enough. On the topic of those guys, though, Liam, what do you think his stock is going to be like when Cruze comes in? And obviously Liam's done his job for that roster. Do you think he's going to slot into a decent team? Does he enjoy? I haven't spoken to Lee. Does he enjoy the game? Is he keen to?
It's hard. I think it's hard to say because he's kind of in like a position where he's doing well by playing with MF, and that's getting us lots of pro points. But like realistically, most of the top teams will probably want to stick together anyway. So I don't really see. The only way I can see him really getting onto a team, which could actually cause a lot of drama, would be because of his pro points. He might be like people want to pick him up so that they can get the top 2 seeds to go overseas.
Yep.
Because if he's got lots of points, say if like 2nd and 3rd are really close, and then you pick up Liam for someone, then you got more points than them, so you can go over.
So there's no last chance qualifier at all. It just goes purely off where you're standing at the moment for points.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. So obviously you've competed in, well, you competed all of last year in Black Ops. Did you attend every event you attended?
Yeah, I went to every single event last year.
Yep, fair enough. Well, because I'm sure you've been waiting for this one. One of the topics that I've got for you today, and I don't want you to be too I don't want you to be too PG rated on this. I mean, let it all out. I mean, you obviously have some feelings of what happened, so I'll share a little bit of background. Rory, you were part of the Vertex roster. You were with Beaston, Restalling, Fatty, yourself and
Tyson.
Tyson. And you guys basically went over to Dallas with no expectations on your shoulders, and you finished top 12. Probably could have gone 1 or 2 better as well, just depending on how the bracket worked out. You guys, you guys faced MF, and they were the hot product.
Yeah, it was kind of hard playing against the best team. And we scrimmed against them a lot, so we kind of knew what to expect.
And they were essentially just your hard counter. They just
they knew what we did, so it was kind of hard for us to do.
So you compete in Dallas. You get top 12. You guys come back to Australia, and you attend the XPE LAN straight away, which was the first LAN that we've had on Australian soil since 2017, like when they had IW.
Since IW.
And you guys came 3rd.
Yep.
And then basically after that happened, you, Tyson, go home. You get a message or a phone call. I don't really know exactly what went down.
I basically woke up next day after I got home. Basically got home, went to sleep, woke up the next day, had a message on my phone, looked at the chat. Me and Tyson had basically been dropped from the Vertex team.
Yep. What were your... Where did it all start? Did it start at Dallas? Did it start before Dallas? Because were there some thoughts of maybe this roster wasn't going to stick together attending Dallas? Or did it happen in Brisbane? Where do you think it happened?
Honestly, the thing that was confusing to me is that I initially thought that after Dallas, when we lost, I was actually going to get dropped because I knew that people from the other team had been asking to join for me. Because it seems to be like whenever I'm on a team, people just ask to join for my spot. I don't know why that is, but so yeah, I actually approached my teammates about that. I wouldn't name who it was, but I actually asked, like, have they asked to join for me? Like, what are you guys going to do about it? Like, I'd rather know now than find out later. And they're like, honestly, leading into the event, if we did badly, then we thought we were going to make changes, but because of how well we placed, we're not making any changes. Everyone's staying together. We're sticking together. We're going to keep going to all the events together. And then we went to Brisbane, and then I get home and I get dropped. So it was pretty like mind-blowing to me that people changed that quickly over like an unimportant event. Like Brisbane was not an important event, and people changed their whole opinion of a team based off a local wasn't fully serious.
So, because I obviously dealt with it as well. I do want to put a disclaimer to everyone that would be watching this, and especially the guys as well that did come in for Rory and Tyson. Like, as an org owner, I obviously have to support and be very supportive of what the team wants to do. You kind of have to put personal relationships aside, and you have to think, okay, these guys want what's best for the team. I've always been someone who again, you have to kind of take this with a grain of salt. I'm not a competitive Call of Duty player.
Yeah.
I kind of thought, well, if the wheel's not broken, don't fix it. See how you go. Like, the Brisbane event, you underperformed, like whatever, but it's not an important event. But then again, in saying that, the guys obviously wanted to do what was best for the team and the roster moving forward, and you have to support that. So, what was your first reaction to hearing that when they said that you and Tyson got dropped for Zeppa and Ging or Nimble?
To be honest with you, I looked at my phone and I was just mind blown. I was like, actually, like in awe that they had decided to do that. So I messaged Tyson, I think, and I was just like, honestly, like it was really upsetting because I thought like, look, we just did really well at an event. Like this is probably my big chance to actually make something out of this. Like if we keep going to events and we keep doing well, like make champs, get noticed by like a pro team or whatever, like you can actually do something with it. So and to think like, since we had all the events on the table, to then be dropped and honestly think that I would never be able to get another org or never make another good team. It was like, to me, I was just like, there goes my career. Like it's done. Like it's over. Like I literally told my girlfriend, like, okay, I'm done playing. Like I'm not coming back from this. Like there's no way.
Yeah, I know Tyson took it really hard too.
Yeah, to me it was like, that's it, it's over. And I was like pretty upset about that because I've put so much effort and time and work into this. That to have that like ripped away from you by someone else's decision is like pretty upsetting.
Do you think you guys do you think like the top 12 placing though, do you think it was a fluke? Do you think that you guys probably should have gone better? Do you think that was probably a good indication of where you guys were in the AM bracket? Do you like I said, do you think that
so.
Because you guys who did you guys beat in the you had a 5-1 comeback in Search and Destroy? Was it
so I mean we showed that we could like come back from anything when we won that. Like we were down 5-1 in Search and Destroy, they had full streaks and building their specialists, and we had nothing, and we came back and won that series, like won that map. So then we played. That was in round 4. Round 5, we played against Tish, Mosh, Nelson, Pimby, and Kolchan.
Yep.
Those guys are like top NAMs and have been at the top for a long time. They all most of them went to the PLQ. Like Tish and Mosh were both on FaZe Black. Like Nelson was in the Pro League in Black Ops 3. Like these guys are like top AM players, and we played against them and we smoked them. Like it wasn't even close, to be honest. I think we won by like 250 to 140 or something in the hardpoint. The S&D was like 6-1. Like we were just mowing through them. And we came up against MF and we lost, but that's okay. And then we played. I think we were a bit. Like we kind of had to play like straight after we played MF, and I think we were all a bit like drained because we've been playing. Like, we just played
almost 2 days straight of Call of Duty. Best of 3s, pretty stressful arena, like being in an open bracket. Yep.
So then we ended up losing 3-0 again, I think, in losers to this French team. But yeah, so that was a bit unfortunate. I think that we just had to play straight away. It was a bit shit, but that's alright. So I think that top 12 was like a good placement for what we played, and I think we deserve to get that.
And you think consistently across the board, if you guys could stuck with that roster, you probably would have kept going.
I think if we stuck together, like we had, I think the thing that those guys who dropped us didn't realize is that the element, just because you get better players on paper doesn't mean your team's gonna be better.
And that's like, not taking anything away from Ging and Mark. They are,
no.
Yeah,
they're good players.
Yeah.
They're really good players. But the thing is, you can have 5 of the best players in the world, and they don't mesh as a team, and it doesn't work. And I think that because they got rid of me and Tyson, the leadership role became more of a clash between Jai and Ging, and they wanted to do things different ways. And I think there was just a lot of issues between the guys, and obviously it didn't really work out very well for either of us.
I mean, so. they're still I mean, obviously they've decided to team again this year, and I think that roster is really, really good. I think I really like seeing Damage back. I mean, I don't think last year, and I think with Ging as well, I don't think last year was their game. And I think they kind of know that too. I mean, Ging's kind of that snake on the map. He really likes getting behind the enemy, making those plays where obviously you can get a leg up on the opponent, just surprise them by just popping up in the middle of nowhere. But Black Ops 4 had Fog of War.
Yeah, well, if you look at Ging's placings in World War II compared to like his placings in like BO4, it's like pretty obvious to see that game like suited him a lot better.
Yep, of course. Having testy pops here, mate. Just going through puberty. And I really like seeing Hayden back too. So like we're kind of segueing off the topic a little bit. I mean, I think that roster could really work well. I think what happened, I kind of spoke to Zeppa and I said, dude, what happened? Like you guys had bombed down 1v2, 2v1. What happened? And I think Mark said Jai heard him or Beeston heard him in mid-map. So Mark turns around. Well. Mark turns around, or Zeppa turns around last second and just goes, "Oh, okay, no, he's not there." Just gets shot in the back.
Yeah.
Which leaves, I think it was Jai or Beeson in 1v1.
I think it was most of the. I don't know. I think it was just like a disaster. Like it just would have gone completely wrong for what they were expecting.
Yep. But, a lot of surprises in that week one. A lot of surprises. But so back on the topic. We kind of segued a little bit. So you thought that the top 12 placing was something that you guys could consistently do if you kept attending the events and, you know, potentially done one better or maybe gone a spot or two better.
Well, I think the thing that was our team was like, you can play with people for a long time and it just won't work. But I think we played together for like a month or something, and our teamwork was really, really good. Like we could like run around the map with each other, and I think we could honestly just play with no comms and still know what each other were doing.
Yep.
Like we could just play with each other like that in sync, that we knew what each other were doing at every moment, and it was like our teamwork was really good. And I honestly haven't had a team with that like level of teamwork since then. So, it's kind of something that I'm trying to find in teams nowadays, I guess.
It was definitely like definitely a year for us, especially of like what could have been. I think our year last year we were one map away from making that PLQ.
Yeah.
I think we were even up 2-1 in control with streaks, and then just collapsed. I don't know the full thing. I never really got to attend. I didn't get to attend.
I was watching it. You guys had the bad side. When you were up 2-1, you had bad side. and I think you wasted streaks on. I'm not sure if they had streaks or not, but I just remember
Yep.
they were like lost that round, and then the last round was just like they
Yep.
didn't have a chance. Like the movie star guys literally just ran through them. Like
Yep.
it was insane. I think they got like 4 kills in the whole half or something.
Yeah. It was definitely like a year of what could have been, you know what I mean? But then again, in saying that, you know, anything can happen. You kind of, you just got to take it with a grain of salt and move forward. So you go from the Vertex roster. You obviously had a good placing at Dallas. Average placing, or probably like probably underperformed at the Brisbane LAN. But like you guys said, it was kind of just something to try and keep the momentum going, get a little bit more LAN experience.
Well, we weren't even planning on going to the event in the first place. Like, we weren't really going to go together.
Yeah, because the other guys got picked up by Ludia Pathos to attend, and I was like, well, you know, if you guys want to go, just go. Just get some LAN experience, see how you go. And then obviously the downfall of the roster happened. But after that happens, you and Tyson are basically stuck looking for a team. You pick up, was it...
Tyson didn't even know if he wanted to play. Like, Tyson was like at the point where he was like, I don't think we're going to have a good team. Like, we might as well just not play anymore. And I was like, don't give up on me. Like, we can do this.
Yep.
So yeah, basically me and Tyson talked to Immense, and we decided that we were going to play as a team of 3. We didn't really know who to get as a 4th and 5th, but we played with Lee. Oh no, initially we played with Hytosis and Excite.
You initially played with. Oh, was it Excite for Lee? Was it?
Yeah, it was Kai and Excite, and it didn't really work out. Because Cody decided he didn't want to play.
Yep.
So then we decided, and then someone in our team didn't want to play with Kai, which was fine. Like that was okay. I think they probably ended up being good for us. So we ended up getting Liam, and then I'd honestly never heard of Mika before someone suggested picking him up. I was like, Dodo was like, let's play with Mika. I was like, who the is Mika? Like I'd never played against him. I'd never heard of him. Like I didn't know who he was, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like let's just do it. Like
kind of got nothing to lose at this point.
I'm like, I honestly like, if he's good, let's just play with him. Then even from playing with him for a week, I could tell that this guy was good. Like I knew he was a really good player and was going to be a really good player after just playing with him for a week. He was really good at BO4. He had good comms. His understanding of the game was incredibly good for someone who just started playing competitive.
Where did he come from? Where did he come from? Has he always been
started playing money 10s, like random money 10s, and just got noticed by like I think he was playing with Mido and Flanners and stuff for a bit. And then I think we played with Mido and Flanners at the first LAN, and then we picked them up. Obviously, went to London with that team under Scars. So me, Liam, Mika, Tyson, and Immense.
Yep.
Went to London. I think we got top 24.
One from the money or something. Yeah, one from the money.
So that was a bit. I think that was a bit disappointing. Couple of things went wrong. Like we kind of threw away a couple games. It was just a bit of a unlucky event, and then again, like having to play. We played in winners and lost 2-1, round 5 of control, and then we played again straight away in losers bracket against a guy who just won the last open event. So we got kind of unlucky with that. Like we played against Gravity, who was on FaZe Black, who just won the last event.
Yep.
And we ended up losing round 5 of control again. So 3-2 last map. So that was pretty insane. Disappointing to lose both series.
Yep.
Like 3-2.
Just on the topic though of like the open bracket. Last year was the first time that they obviously introduced like its own being.
Yeah.
Do you think it would have been fairer? And we're probably biased here though. Do you think it would have been fairer to have the entire tournament run as best of 5s? They had so many stations. Like I think the only reason why they kept running the best of 3s was purely to get the grand final in before everyone else on Champ Sundays. Do you think you needed that? Do you think like if you're an AM bracket you don't really need that? Like I mean the notoriety is good, but do you think
they were just trying to like make the open bracket more legit? Yeah, like bringing it into like the mainstream and stuff like that. Which I do think that's okay, but at the same time, I think they should do like kind of what you're saying and kind of not. Like I think they should just bring in the best of 5s earlier. Yeah, because I don't think we played a best of 3 in round 5. Like you shouldn't be playing for top 12 in a best of 3.
In a best of 3, yeah.
Like because then we also played a best of 3 at London for top 12 and lost. Like, in my opinion, you should not be playing a best of 3 for top 12.
Do you think maybe they could introduce like a best of 5 for the winners bracket, and then say losers bracket is best of 3s until say losers round 4
I'd
or
say
5?
Like the first 2 or 3 rounds should be best of 3s, and then
Just
they should
outright.
best of 5s. Yeah. Just because, and then losers should just be a best of 3 until like later in the comp. Just because it would take too long otherwise. Like the games, if you think about it, you got to get to your station. You got to plug all your equipment in. You got to put your monitor settings you want. You put PS4 settings you want. Get in the lobby, make your classes, play bots. There's always issues with the Cronuses or the Titans. They're not even fucking Cronuses.
Yeah.
There's all the issues with that. Then you get like your PS4 sometimes just doesn't work. Like there's so many issues. You finally get into the game, then there's blue screens. There's all the stuff that can happen. Like best of 3s can take an hour and a half. Like there's no time for best of 5s in the whole tournament because it would take way too long.
Okay, so you think like even if they just say push the grand final, just to kept it on say the open bracket stream, you'd still think that best of 3s are kind of a viable option to run an open bracket like that?
Yeah, I think I think BO3s are fine. I just think they need to bring best of 5s and maybe a round
a little bit earlier. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you
It
go.
just makes them less random.
So where were we? We were talking about your London event. You guys placed top 24, so kind of a little bit disappointing after the previous event. And
yeah, I think we were the 19th seed going into the event, so we played against the 4th seed for top 12. So we played against Dave, Petey, Hawkey, Maple, and Chain, who were all like top Euro AMs.
A lot of NA teams didn't go to that event, did they?
Yeah, a lot of them because they couldn't get the funding.
Yeah.
So we played against those guys. We lost round 5 of the control. Then we played against like Gravity's team, and we lost round 5 control again. So we ended up getting top 24. Went home. We decided we were going to stay together. So we were still under scars. Decided we were going to stay together. Went to Anaheim in June. We placed really, really badly at Anaheim. That's the worst I'd placed all year.
Yeah.
We got knocked out on the last match of the Friday, so that was like embarrassing that we didn't.
So you didn't even make the Saturday.
No.
Wow.
So we played against a decent team, but we made a couple of little mistakes at Anaheim in the hard point that we lost, and then we just got outplayed in S&D. Got 2-0 in winners, and then we went straight into losers again. Like we literally played just after we lost again, and then I think we just lost again, like straight away, like 2-0 again.
That's a rough one.
Yeah. So then we all had a big team talk, and we just said like there's so many issues in our team. Like we basically said that we're going to make a change.
So you went there with the same roster as you did for London?
London, yeah.
Yep.
And then we said at Anaheim that we're going to make a team change. Like we all said as a team, like this is not working. Like something has to change. So coming back from Anaheim, myself, Tyson, Mika, and Menz decided to drop Liam just because we thought that was like it wasn't anything against him. It was just the dynamic in the team wasn't really working.
Yep.
There was like a couple things that we thought that we could improve on if we swapped him out. So we brought in Buzzo, who decided he wanted to play again. So we got Buzzo in, and then we dropped Tyson to the Maddox role just because Buzzo wanted to main ICR, which I thought was good because he was a bit more of a leader than Tice.
Yep.
He could kind of control the map more.
A bit more of a vocalist as well.
Yeah.
I love Tyson.
I think
it's just so
quiet. So I think the first 1K we played with Buzzo, we played against my old team. So like the old Vertex team. So I really wanted to beat them because like they dropped us, and I was like, these guys. So we played against them, and we beat them 3-1. Okay, so basically, I know you wanted to talk about this, the Tyson getting dropped situation.
Yep.
So basically, within the next 24 hours of playing the 2K, so my girlfriend was like in New Zealand at this point. So I got off after the 2K to go hang out with her because I'd been playing all day. So I jumped off. I couldn't sleep. So she fell asleep, and I decided to get back on. I jumped on. Buzzo had messaged me and said, like, we're getting rid of Tyson. And I was like, what? Like, what do you mean? And then he's like, me and Dirt have been talking like immense, and we think that it's in the best interest of us to get rid of Tyson. Like, can you come talk to us? And Mika like didn't want to make a change. So Mika was like set on not wanting to make a change. Mika didn't even want to drop Liam in the first place.
Yep.
Because he's just a real loyal guy. And then they basically got me in a call and were like, we both think we should drop Tyson. Like, We think
Who
we need to
did you want to
Cody
pick
in.
up? Was that Cody?
They
Yeah,
wanted to pick up
Excite?
Excite, yeah. So they were like, we need to drop Tyson. Like, it'll make our team a lot better if we have Excite. Like, we'll probably make champs if we get Excite. They both said this to me, and I was like, I really don't want to drop Tyson. Like, we've literally been through all of this together, like getting dropped together. Like, I don't really want to do that. And they're like, we need to get rid of him. And I was like, okay, well, if you both want to, then okay, like, I won't say no. And so we ended up dropping Tyson. Then we scrimmed the next day with Excite, and Immense was being really weird to me in particular. Like, Cody and Excite and Buzzo both called him out for that. He was just acting really strangely to me. And then it turns out that he'd gone and told Tyson that it was my fault that Tyson got dropped and that Immense was trying to keep him in the team. And then it was my idea, and basically tried to turn Tyson against me. So
Rough.
that was a weird situation for me because me and Tyson have been best friends for like 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So Tyson basically said, I don't want to talk to you ever again. Like, don't message me. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Like, whatever.
Like primary school stuff. Like,
Yeah, pretty
you're not
much.
my friend anymore.
Yeah, exactly. But it was just annoying to me because Immense was the one that messaged Tyson first. Tyson believed him. So basically, Immense had told this massive lie to Tyson and gone behind my back to then try and turn Tyson against me. So then Immense said he's not playing with me for whatever reason. Then Tyson didn't want to play for a little bit. So we were kind of stuck, like we didn't really know what to do. And our team was kind of going to shit. And this was basically 2 weeks before Miami.
Before Miami,
So
yeah.
this is 2 weeks before Champs Quals, and our team is legit in shambles. Like, we don't even know if we're going to the event anymore. Like, we don't know what's going on. I was like, I've just played all year. I'm not going to the event. So we ended up getting Tyson back in. So basically, the swaps we made from Anaheim were we got rid of Immense and Liam and picked up Excite
and picked up Excite and Buzzo.
Honestly, it didn't really work out as we had expected. Our practice was okay going into the event, but again, at the event, it just didn't really all come together.
Yep.
Which I think was a lot to do with the fact we only had 2 weeks of practice as a team.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a bit hard to be good on all maps and modes when you only have, like 10 scrim sessions, 11 scrim sessions. You can't really be good at everything.
Especially with, I mean, no disrespect to Cody and Buzzo, but they had probably about 4 or 5 months off that game as well.
Yeah.
Did they play any of it at all? Did they play like
not really? Like, Buzzo had
nothing?
played ranked player, and Cody had played like a little bit, but not really. Like nothing serious.
Yeah.
So they were actually like quite good considering they hadn't played for that long.
Yep.
And yeah, so we ended up going to the event. We kind of got unlucky. Oh, not unlucky, but like we were bad at 2 hardpoint maps, and then the team that we played against and winners was Mad Cat's team, who was a higher seed than us by 1. And we banned like our worst map, and then they picked our second worst map, and we lost by like 20 points or something.
Mm-hmm.
That was quite unfortunate. They picked that, and then we ended up just losing S&D as well. Then we played losers, and I think we won 1 game. We won a game or 2 in losers, and then we just lost again.
Yep.
So that was
it was a season of ups and downs, a lot of downs, but there was some still some decent times. You're never far from drama, are you, Cruze?
Yeah, well, for me, the season started off slow with Vegas, like underperformed there. I think if it was like on the open, like placings, it would have been like top 24, top 30.
What was that your average for the year? Was it or?
No, just like at Vegas.
Oh,
so
okay.
Vegas,
Oh, yeah.
At Vegas, we got top
42 or top 48.
It was top 48. So in amateur, that would be top 32.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So T32 at Vegas. Came over Vegas, went to Dallas, top 12. Come home from Dallas, get dropped, go to London, top 24. And then I don't even want to know what the placements of Anaheim and Miami were. I think it was like top 48, something like that. Like, that's just shit.
Yep.
So yeah, that was basically the whole season for me.
Yep. So as you obviously transition, you had a lot of open bracket experience last year, obviously going to every event. How do you think this game will play out? Like, do you think you guys have a chance of getting those top 2 spots? Do you think are you happy with your roster? You guys made a change after the first 2K, didn't you?
Yeah, so we placed pretty badly in the first 2K, and then we were kind of contemplating making a roster change. there was talks. We were like talking about it, and then we decided that we were gonna not and play the next 2K as a team. And then someone on our team decided to leave.
Yep.
Jarzin decided to leave, or
Mhm.
Buzzo's team.
Yep.
Which is fine. I don't blame him for that, but it's whatever. Like, I'm gonna make him regret it, but that's alright.
I love
So
it.
we're in the
Yeah.
process of picking up a new
Mhm.
fifth. I think we're deciding between two people right now, but I think it's like kind of clear cut, like who we want right now. So I guess you guys will find out in the next 2K.
Yep, easy done. Because obviously we're recording this on a Tuesday, so 2K is this Saturday. That's the second
Yep.
week of the second week of 2Ks. So just to recap, yeah, obviously the post Dallas thing was a little bit of a glitch in the system, but you guys
Yep.
are back, and you and Tyson are back with your current roster
Philip
now, and
Arroyo.
yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Nice to have
Well,
him back.
the ups and downs of a Call of Duty amateur, mate.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's an interesting time.
it is an interesting
So
time.
I guess hopefully this year is better than last.
I think it's interesting as well, just being around it. I mean, I obviously don't play competitively, but just being around it all and just seeing the ins and outs, like the amount of roster
I think
changes, and
I think people don't understand how stressful it is.
yep,
Like how much stress. Like obviously it's the same for NA and EUMs going to events, but for us it's like we don't go to events often, and when we do go to events, we have to fly across the whole world. Like
and
if
basically
you
you have
place
2 days
badly at that
to
event,
regulate your sleep pattern, and then
yeah, yeah.
play like 4 series, 10, 12
And
hours a
if you
day of COD.
and if you play bad, then you just wasted a month of scrimming and a friggin' 24-hour travel day.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a lot more important for us to do well than it is for those teams, in my
Yep.
opinion.
Mm-hmm. Do you think there's like any potentials of a CDL team bringing over their roster to maybe, like, you know how, like, obviously I'm kind of transitioning this into like a professional sports thing.
Yeah.
Some professional teams, they take their home games to just anywhere, like as a rugby league player,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you know,
I know,
like
I know.
a lot of rugby league teams, they
Yep.
take their games to like just like bush areas, like
Yeah,
places
that's
where they
what we
don't
did
really
over here
don't.
as well.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys will do the same sort of
Um,
thing with Union and that as well. Do you think like there's any chance of, say, a CDL team, like, let's say Dallas, like Hastro just turns around and says, "Look, let's take this event to Sydney. Let's call it the Dallas Down Under, or whatever. Call
yeah,
it the
I mean,
Dallas
I think
Down
that would be
Under.
cool,
Bring some teams over." Or do you think that there's
but
no room for that just
financially,
yet?
I don't think they would do that just because right now they're trying to sell their own like cities brands, like
Yep.
Dallas Empire are trying to like be like, come to our home games, like we'll
Yeah,
do all this, like
give us all the fan base, and now they're
yeah,
basically taking it
exactly. Like, they're trying
overseas.
to
Yeah,
grow their fan base, but if they did like sacrifice one of their only 2 weekends, I think that would be like too much to ask.
yep,
Like since it's the first year, maybe in future years, then for
yep.
sure there will be something like when they're more established. But right now they're all trying to grow their own brands, so
But I think
I don't see that happening.
that's fair. Do you think we'll ever have a CDL team from like our area, like from Australia, nor New Zealand, or even Japan? I think the most likely is
I
probably
think
going to
it's
be
more likely to have a
a
Japanese one.
Japanese team. I mean, those guys are crazy about their COD.
Yep.
Do you think we'll ever see an Australian team?
Probably not. But I think there's definitely room for Australian players like
Mm-hmm.
Shocks, Dens, and Luke to get picked up.
Yep.
I think there's
Kind of.
definitely opportunities for players to make it to the top, but I also don't think like a whole team from Australia would get chosen.
Yep. Oh, I mean, you wouldn't necessarily have 5 Australian players. You'd probably bring someone over just to kind of sell tickets, I guess.
Yeah.
Pick up sensor.
Mm.
So, like, just someone who's just there to kind of grow the brand. No, like, I think
Yeah.
maybe one day. I mean, definitely not now. It's kind of hard too because they kind of expect the buy-in amount to be
Yeah.
almost doubled within the next 4 or 5 years. They're predicting a $35 million or $40 million buy-in over the next 3-4 years. That's USD. It's probably about
Yeah, it's
60
like
million.
60.
Yeah.
Australia.
It's not hard being an APAC COD player, is it? Well, speaking of APAC, I know there's been a lot of talk in the scene at the moment where
I just put my 2 cents in that onto it as well.
you think we should drop the APAC and go back to an ANZ region and have the kind of split the region in two.
I think it's hard because if we did that, then it wouldn't be fair to give both ANZ and APAC 2,000 points for winning a 2K because the competition would be less, especially on the like the Asian side of it, just because there's less good teams in Japan and Malaysia than there are in Australia. Even though there are 2 in the top 4 right now.
Yep.
Um, I
Crazy
think it's
times.
kind of too hard to do that right now, but I do think it is unfair. Like, okay, so from where I live, it's double. Just if anyone is from America or Europe or whatever, where I live and play to Japanese host, it is double the distance from New York to London. So you guys don't play against each other in online tournaments. I see you play in wages and stuff, but like they don't play online tournaments and they're not in the same region or reason because they're too far away. But
Yep.
like we have to play against these guys who for me are double the distance of that. Like
Mhm.
I'm playing on basically 400 ping every time I play against them. And it's even worse for me because I'm further away than all the Australian people.
Yeah. Do you think didn't they have something in, was it IW or Black Ops 3 where they kind of had like an equation where like you would have, say, if Mindfreak were on 10,000 points in the ANZ region,
Oh yeah, they did have
and they had
something
like
like
a
that.
breakdown, like say like
Oh,
a
they did that at the World War. That was the first event of World War Two because the
okay.
APAC teams had so many pro points going into World War Two, the first season, which was Dallas, like the first event.
Mhm.
That SYF were the first seed, I think. Uh, Even I think then they like made a like an equation thing about it, and then they got bumped down to like 4th or something.
Yep.
I think that would be a fair way of doing it. I just hate the fact that we're at risk of not getting a lot of points just because we have to play against people from far away, and the
And
connection's horrible,
especially
and
now
it's shit
where
for them as well.
yeah, especially now we're Libelant
Rush being in the
and
top
Rush are
4.
now in the top 4, so they get 3 hosts. I mean, I
Yeah.
think there's probably a way of doing it, but then you're basically cutting our 2Ks in half. Well, we had 56 on the weekend, which is 10% of NA, and that includes probably what was it, 11 Japanese teams? You had Libelant, Rush,
Yeah,
probably not even that many. Well, let's say there's
maybe
probably
8.
15% of our region were Japanese teams.
Yeah,
Do you
and if you
think?
did like
Yeah,
if you did chop it in half, like we're saying, like if we did have APAC and ANZ, then it also brings up the question of how do you do the top 2 on pro points? Like, do you have
yeah,
one APAC and one Asian and one Australian? But then that would kind of like screw everyone over because then
yeah,
realistically it would probably
because
just be Mind Freak
yeah,
and then one Japanese team.
mm-hmm,
Like that would kind of be shooting ourselves in the foot.
yep,
So I'm not really sure there's a fair way of doing it, and honestly, I don't think that MLG will change anything just because it's like we're
yeah. I
like
mean,
a shit region to them, so
we
like they don't care
could.
about us.
Yeah, but we could also grow to the point where we could probably split those regions. I mean, Call of Duty in Japan is growing.
Yeah, it's getting
That's
huge.
the most we've had in a 2K, and I understand it's the first one of the season, so it's probably always going to be like that. But um, who knows? I mean, it was we could potentially build to where we could probably average 60 or 70 teams that are Australia
Yeah,
and New Zealand, which I think
started
one
off
day,
always like that.
yeah, I think one day we probably could get to that. Do you think 5v5 is a
Yeah,
little bit of a
yeah, it does
reason for that?
hurt
Yeah,
us a
because
bit.
it takes away
I
from the
think,
player pool.
and also we did lose a lot of players because our region was quite like I'd say like an age, not an aging, but like it was like an aging population in terms of that. Like we had a lot of older players that had been around for ages
Yep.
compared to like the amount of older people compared to new, like young people and like our top teams is like quite. It's changing now, obviously, because a lot of people are giving up, and so people like Crimza, Pred, Immense, who else?
Jarzen,
Restalling,
yeah, Mika, yeah,
Jarzen,
all these guys who just turned
all these guys
18.
who are just turning 18 and getting into teams now.
Yep.
Whereas it wasn't really like that 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm. I'd love to see us. I'd love to see us grow as a region. I think we do have the room to grow as well. How do you think
Yeah.
How do you think we could grow though? Like, do you think maybe more streaming, probably platforming, like trying
I
to?
think streaming definitely helps, but I think that like there's to a point where that's pointless because like streaming definitely helps and it does help us grow and like people do see a lot. Like for example, when I stream 2Ks, I think 70% of my viewers are not from Australia or New Zealand or not from APAC. So like I do bring in like a lot of international viewers, which would obviously help the region a lot. And I guess I'm sure it's the same for other Australian streamers. Um, but I do also think that like we can't grow much without some sort of help from Activision. Like they kind of need to give us like a platform to grow.
To
I
grow.
think we kind of ourselves over. In
How,
Black
how,
Ops
how,
3.
how did we fuck ourselves over in Black Ops 3? Like, what did we do?
Because everyone took that as, okay, this is what we're getting forever. Like, we don't need to make any content. We don't need to do anything. No one's streaming. No one's creating content. No one's doing anything that's actually making the money worthwhile other than playing the game, and that's
Yeah.
not acceptable.
Because we had regional support back then too, didn't we? Where we had
we had a league. Like, we had our
Yeah.
own league, our own pro teams, and it was like people just took that for granted. And then
Yep.
Activision were like, nope, you're not getting that again.
Mhm.
And then we had LANs and IW, and now we don't even have that.
Mhm.
Like, everyone was like, oh, we went from having these leagues to like these CDL leagues. Now we have LANs. Like, these LANs are terrible. Like, we've only got 3 LANs. Like, what is this? Like, there's nothing to play for. And then they were like, okay, well, you don't want that. We'll just
Well,
do nothing.
you get nothing now. You
So
get what you're given, or
I went from being I was 16 in Black Ops 3 and 17 in IW, seeing like we have a pro league, we have LANs. Then I turn 18, we get no LANs in World War II, which is the year I turned 18. So I went to one LAN and it was overseas. Like, that was like insane because I'd been in the scene since Ghosts, which we'd always had heaps of local LANs. And then the year I turned 18 was the first year we'd ever not had a local LAN.
Yep.
That was quite frustrating for me.
it's I mean, it is disappointing too. I mean, our scene was popping a few years ago, and I think DOSplay probably hurt us a little bit. That definitely probably hurt us. I don't know the whole ins and outs. I know that they ran a few local LANs and they essentially shut up shop and ran away.
Yep.
That's probably hurt us as well. I mean, our scene was popping back then. I heard in Black Ops 3 their tournaments would get close to 60, 70 teams every time they ran a decent league.
Yeah, that was true.
Is that true? Yep.
Yeah.
That's insane. I mean, that's insane to me where we're back then on a third party organization website. They were getting that many teams, and now we have CDL support with 2 teams that will get sent overseas, fully funded in our region, and we can't even pull 60.
Well, the big reason for also why that was is that we had so many local LANs that people wanted to play for, and there was also no age limit. Like, there was no age limit on the LANs. So it was like people who were underage, like Stocker and Limex, and those guys actually had something to play for. Like, now they can't even go to local LANs. Like, they can't. The only thing they can play is CG leagues, and no one even plays those seriously anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and the wager bot tournaments. But it's like, that's not like as serious as 2Ks.
Yeah,
and,
of
like,
course. I mean,
like
we're kind of the pathway, but they've kind of. I don't like the whole idea where the amateur scene is also locked out to 18. If that is true, I mean, from what I've heard, it is.
It is.
That's, in my opinion, it's kind of stunting the growth of your game. In my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
So. I don't know, man. I mean, hopefully we get to a point where we can average about 60, 70 teams. I think we will eventually. I mean, there's a lot of untapped talent. Maybe if they open up the platforms to everyone next year rather than just being PS4 specific.
Yeah.
I think that opens a lot of doors as well.
Yeah, I think it does make it there's be some complications with that as well.
Yeah.
In terms of fairness. Like, if you're a PC player, your like field of view is a lot better.
Yep.
Like, your FPS is better.
Yeah, but they could also they could just limit that to private games. If you join a private game and you select CDL rule sets, your frame rate is capped at 60 FPS.
Yeah, true.
So, I mean, that's probably the best way to do it in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I'm not part of the CDL, so
yeah. No, we'll see.
We'll see how it goes, man. The future's. I mean, this is a stepping stone, and hopefully we can definitely build from here. So,
yeah, hopefully this year is better than last.
Yeah, for everyone as well.
Exactly.
Results overseas as well would be nice to come home with a few top 8s in.
It would be
from the APAC region. Well, look, man, I really do appreciate you jumping on board today. I know you're probably about to go scrim, so you've just taken up your time to join the podcast, and you're going to go scrim. So I will let you go, man. Thank you very much for joining us. It's a pleasure to talk to you as always.
You too.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later, man. And thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you guys later.